feedback, and things should be a little bit more even Stevens for everybody. So we are getting back into that match here, as Thump4 will be making sure that things are peachy keen on his end as well as ours. But everything you were saying there, Victor, was entirely salient. There's a lot to be said about the things that Quake Champions introduces to the Duel game, not only because of the champions and the format, but also because of, you know, the new weapon balance, the new armor balance, the new way the items work, the new timings. There's a lot of really small changes to the Quake formula, at least from Quake Live, that in some ways are very new, but in some ways also kind of take it back to Quake World / Quake 2 area in terms of design. And that means we get a lot of interesting drama and a lot of interesting narratives in these matches, which I'm very pleased with. We've been running a few tournaments over on the Tasty Spleen TV side of things for a couple weeks here, and I've been actually really surprised by how enjoyable just watching, well, maybe not surprised, but really pleased to find out how enjoyable watching and narrating a lot of these matches are. You have a lot of really swingy comebacks with the spawn system, with the weapons, with the abilities, of course, and we're continuing to see a lot of really analog kind of creative ways to use the abilities in the course of a duel. So what's your experience been like so far?
Yeah, having watched and played, like I said, I agree with you. I think it's very diverse in terms of how you can play the game, how you can approach the game. You don't necessarily need to go with what everybody else does or what somebody else recommends for you. Like I said, the champions offer a varying play styles, so based on what you think is best for that map or for you personally, you can pick those champions that play to your strengths. I think that adds an interesting dynamic, not to mention the whole counter pick system. As you mentioned, the abilities, how you utilize them, playing off of that, being inventive with abilities and really maximizing, what you get out of them when you do utilize, those abilities. And then of course there's neutralizing your opponent. Just like a good boxing match, you don't want to get hit in the face nonstop. So it's important to be able to get your damage in while neutralizing what your opponent wants to do, and that's where kind of the decision making and it's more than just the item running. I guess the simple part of it is just people think, oh, I time the heavy armor, I time the mega health, and you start running back and forth. But there's a lot more to it than that. There's these little intricacies that you kind of learn by playing, and a lot of these players that you see at this higher level, they've developed over time knowledge of these intricacies, and believe me, like I said before, all these players took their own lickings coming up the ranks and trying to get better at Quake. So it takes a little bit of work, but it's worth it.
No kidding. And I just want to touch on a point you mentioned where getting people to get into timing in Duel is a bit of work, but then also getting them to understand that timing isn't everything. It's being aware of the timing, but you don't have to be there right on the second, because your opponent is likely going to be there too. So you want to make sure that you're aware of where they are, where they're going to be coming from, how aggressive they're likely to be based on the last little confrontation. And Quake Champions plays all of those factors up really well. Now, guys, we are getting back into this. I think we're going to be seeing a bit of a physical restart on the match, but we're going to have malvoe up 2 rounds. So this is still match point for him, at least on Blood Run. And then we're going to be seeing, Thump4, if you can't quite make it, be able to get the call for the next map. But we might indeed have a bit of a turnaround here as things get improved for him. But of course, Blood Run being in the game, it came out, just a couple patches ago. Really great to see it back here. It's been in, Quake since, Quake World, it was like 1997. I mean, ZTN's been so prolific across Quake and Quake 2 and Quake 3, but one map of his has really stood the test of time. And it's seen relatively little changes over the years, actually. There's been a few changes in terms of item placement, and now there's a new teleporter, a new jump pad, a few new holes in the floor, but otherwise it's still the same old map.
Yeah, there's definitely a similar familiar flow to how it plays. Like the Blood Run goes back to Quake 3. It's been played and tried and true in Duel for well over 10 years now. So it's a great map. Like I said, I like the changes they made to make it a little more dynamic, so you don't get trapped in certain areas, and the grate in the floor to shoot up and down from the mega health area is pretty very inventive, especially as with Ranger can slip gate through the grate. It's a very interesting tactic for that champion. So I enjoy this map, and I think it's a lot of fun. Galena, I think, is a great pick for this map too, because of the portal and the way it cuts off the map. So with good Galena play and totem placement, you can really make somebody think twice about taking that portal over there by the rocket launcher area.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, we can harp on endlessly, and I think, it's going to be some real theory crafting on our part, which is, fun. It's an easy job for us where we get to talk about, these abilities and, how they get used. My take on it, I think, watching players like Cypher, watching players like Cooler will really help define and help us discover what these abilities are really capable of. You were mentioning a little bit earlier today how Ghost Walk from Nyx, at first you look at it and you think, okay, it's a defensive ability, I get to pop the Ghost Walk and get out of a situation, but now we're seeing it used in a much more aggressive, ambushy, sneaky play, and it's highly effective at that. It's a nasty play, but that's exactly what we look for here.
Yeah, I think if anybody's playing Nyx and they're trying to learn Quake a little and get a little better, I would say if you're utilizing it in a defensive way, Ghost Walk in a defensive way, you're really not getting the most out of that character, because her, like you mentioned, getting that first shot off in Quake and getting a good ambush is pivotal. So being able to use the Ghost Walk and make it does two things. One, it makes your opponent caught off guard. That's the obvious. But two, it establishes that you're reading your opponent properly, because to use Ghost Walk properly, you need to pop it in advance so they don't see the little mist when you disappear. And that's when it's most effective, because then they have no idea that you're close to them and you're invisible. And that's when you can really set up a proper ambush. So it's important. It's good to set it up like that, because one, you're offensive, it's going to get you frags. And two, it really helps you with the game sense, because you got to really predict where your opponent is.
Absolutely. And we're going to be seeing all of that and more as we get back into it here. We do have Melba and Thump4 getting back into the match themselves, and so are we. All right, back into Blood Run. And once again, Melva is going to have a 2-round advantage here. So it's going to be 1 for him, and he takes it. Thump is still working on his first here, so let's see how far he can get.
Yeah, I got a little minute there to regroup mentally. So maybe he can make some mental adjustments, kind of calm himself down. Like I mentioned, round of 16, this is when these games get a little more intense. You start feeling that pressure, because, all the opponents you're going to be running into are quality opponents. So there's no gimmies here. So you just gotta stay calm and just play your game.
All right, and yeah, like you said, we're not really changing up the setup here. We're trying to get back into it as if nothing ever happened and nobody will ever notice or speak of this again.
That round does no longer exist.
Yeah, you're right, though. Getting a moment to breathe can be incredibly helpful. Hopefully he's had the time to kind of take a little bit of a jog around the house, get some of those endorphins out. But here we go, watching Thump4 out of the gate, getting the spawn down by Mega as an Anarchy, making his way for LG and Rocket Launcher. He can come back top of the map and find out what's going on with Armor, but he's going to hear a lot of damage coming from malvoe, and he doesn't want to open himself up immediately. He's thinking that malvoe still needs a Rocket Launcher of his own, so there's an opportunity for a bit of an attack before the next items come up. Might have spotted him there. So no real consequence from that fight, as we have Mega and Armor coming back into the swing of things. Thump is still looking for a trap more than anything else, but he didn't see malvoe across the way ready with that rail, and now he's thinking, okay, I can get the Mega, but the play for Armor is going to be really messy. He's now looking for it, and that malvoe is looking for the damage as well, but nothing comes of those rockets. Thump4 just ate a rail and didn't have anything to dish out in return.
Yeah, a little foolish coming through the portal like that. I mean, and that's what it leads to. So look, that's one, it's a good play by malvoe. Setting up the rail shot like he did, and look, he's going to have another good setup here with Sorlag. Easy hits with a big tanky character like that.
Yeah, eating damage directly off the spawn like that is never any fun. So this will pop him back down to Scale Bear. Hopefully, he'll be able to give himself a little bit more breathing room and get ready for these next few fights. He's going to know that malvoe had the pickup for the Armor. malvoe didn't get any sonar rockets out of that spam, though. He's looking for the mid-air Dire Orb, doesn't quite connect with it, and doesn't commit on the teleport either. Wants to stay nice and safe, as Thump4 is definitely on his back legs, both in terms of stack, items, map control, and weapons at this point. He's finally got Rocket Launcher, though.
I really like how malvoe's playing. The decision-making, and like I said, Thump4 helped him out. So what happened, illustrate kind of what happened there for some of the newer players. So he knew Thump4 was beneath him by the portal, and Thump4 came first. He obliged him by coming to. Thump4 had moves. He could have gone back towards the mega health area. He could have gone to the jump pad. He could have, he could have delayed. He didn't have to just go right through the portal. Right. malvoe made a good read. He was waiting there, as you should. That's a standard play that you did with the railgun. So he came through. He gave him that shot. That's pretty much a guaranteed hit. And then now you have your class low. because you hit him once, you run over to the 2 healths in the back area and the small armor with the other health. You know he needs health. He needs to there's only so many areas he can go, and he met him over there, hit some nice rockets, and got the kill with a nice rail as he ran away. I mean, it's a standard play, but it's also, it just shows mentally that malvoe was really on top of Thump4, and he was just reading him. Thump4 was mentally beat, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many ways to tilt somebody on Blood Run where you do just enough damage where most of the health is collected in a few offshoot areas. I mean, you have like the top of the stairs, you have 2 25s up there, you have the armor room up top, there's a couple 25s in there as well. And you know that if you've done enough damage, you're going to be forcing your opponent to, you know, one of like 3 areas. And you can make a pretty good prediction about how they're going to be coming out, and you can just keep that rolling going. But Blood Run has also been a great map for ambushes. I mean, there's even more opportunities now with the jump pad, with the, you know, health regain in the blood pool, with the holes over Mega, and we've seen a lot of that here so far. But a lot of these shots still come down to, you know, you got to hit your rails if you're at Mega and you're shooting up to the grenade launch or tri-bolt platform. You have to hit your rails shooting up to rocket launcher. And there were a lot of misses those ways, but Mel had just enough to push himself over into a 3-round victory on the first map. We're going to be catching up with them here as we go into the next map, which will be Thump4's pick. Do you have any inkling of what he might be choosing here?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm wondering if he'll go with maybe Corrupted Keep and just kind of move away from a railgun.
What have you been thinking of Corrupted Keep so far?
I think I enjoy the map. It's, you know, it's faster paced. It's close quarter combat because, you know, it's rocket and lightning gun. It forces you to make decisions even quicker, like I said, because of the close proximity of everything. You know, the map's small. And I think it favors a little bit of the heavier champions because of that. In just my opinion, I think that you're going to see a lot of good clutch play and Sorlag play and Scale Bearer. I think you're going to see those 3 in various degrees. Maybe not all in one, you know, all 3 in the same, you know, round for somebody, but in various degrees you'll see them picked. I think they'll be very popular, those tank champions.
Yeah, one of the things I've been looking forward to here is seeing champ choice really directed by map choice. And I think we're just starting to see the very tip of that iceberg. Of course, that's something that is going to take a lot of like deeper knowledge from both the players and the player base in general to kind of be able to make those assumptions. Because, you know, if you have a larger map, especially like something like Sarnath, you know, having somebody like Anarchy who can get around quickly, or even Slash, as we saw in Friday's North American duel stuff from Cypher and Lost Cause, somebody who can help close those gaps a lot faster really does help. And of course, we're seeing a lot of that from Clutch now as well. But again, keep an eye on these players as they, you know, A, get their trio of champions that they really like playing, but B, how that may be affected by your opponent's choice and also by the map choice. So,
yeah, I agree with especially the map choice. In my opinion, again, like, so let's just take Blood Covenant as an example.
Yeah.
You know, getting to rail is an important aspect of the map. So having a class like Ranger or Anarchy or Slash or these, you know, Nyx, classes that can jump to the rail platform, to the bridge easily, and even just change elevation, like in Ranger's case, that's why his Dire Orb is very useful. You know, you could be in the bottom of the map, throw it up, now you're on the top level of the map or the mid level of the map, and vice versa. And so picking these champions, I think, will be very much dependent on the maps. I think people will vary their picks a little bit on map choice. I would agree on that. I'm curious to see how the, you know, as they said, the meta, right? How that progresses and what we see. You know, what we see now is not necessarily what we're going to see in QuakeCon.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to change both in the game itself and how people are playing it. I think we're seeing a few of the pros. You know, there's been a lot of people in chat going, you know, where's this player? Where's that player? I think there's a lot of like chin stroking going on from some of these guys as they're actually doing research, you know, finding out how people are playing, how picks are going, taking some notes. Cypher recently had a very well-informed interview where he really harped on the importance of champ choice. And that was something where if you were worried about champ choice not actually mattering all that much in a Quake game, well, thankfully, it's getting like bound into the way people are playing in a very natural way, I'm finding. So it's really working out, and it's causing the higher level players to react that way, which I enjoy.
Yeah, like I enjoy. I've been having a lot of fun with the game. I enjoy the variety of the champions, and it makes for some hilarious moments in game, I guess, with some of the champion abilities. So I'm enjoying the game. I think there's a lot of fun, and of course, it's still Quake. There's that element of Quake. There's that control and, you know, item management and all the decision making that goes into Quake. But they just added another layer to it, and I think it's a lot of fun.
All right, well, we are indeed getting back into, I think it was going to be Burial Chamber here. No, I'm sorry, Corrupted Keep. Burial Chamber in Duel. What kind of madman would do that? Well, Thump4 would, if you could, I'm sure. But we're getting into picks here, and we're going to have to see how things change, if at all. Now, we saw Thump4 really relying on an Anarchy early game in Blood Run. Here in Corrupted Keep, that certainly has some use. I think Anarchy has a little bit more of a danger factor there in Corrupted Keep. Just because the map is so small, it's very difficult to lose hearing of where he's at. You can track him really effectively. And while he can get away with his drugs there, with his injection, there's not a whole lot of places to run to that keep him safe for any period of time. So we're seeing a lot of Galena play on this map, actually. Just because it's so small, you get a lot of love out of those totems, a lot of nicks. But we're going to have to see how these picks go, if there's going to be any change reacting to the fact that we're going to Corrupted Keep.
Prepare for draft.
Here we go.
Yeah, the totems can definitely be a game changer. There's 2 portals on this map, and if you use them right for recovery and damage, there's the scale bearer pick. I'm amazed. Anarchy, he went with Anarchy. Oh, but he went with 2 heavies to back up the Anarchy.
Yeah,
so,
it's actually the same setup he had before. And yeah, Scale Bearer can be a lot of fun here. You have a lot of opportunities on both Mega and the armor to get some decent runtime before pummeling into them with Thomas the Gank Engine there. But here we go into Corrupted Keep, which is, of course, a new map for Quake Champions. And, of course, the first thing to notice about it is the fact that it doesn't have a railgun, which is really neat, actually. I think that with the pacing of duels, being able to affect the pacing with the weapon choice available on the map is a really important thing, and this is playing off really well.
Yeah, definitely a faster-paced map. The Anarchy pick, he's just got to be careful. You know, the thing with Anarchy is you can really fall in love with that movement. I mean, he's really fun to just fly around the map, you know, at 100 miles an hour.
Thump4 is a
you got to
Quake
be careful.
Player, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful though, because that makes a lot of noise, you know, and you're not really. You could come around the corner and just run into an ambush, and he doesn't really have the stack necessary to take a hard first shot and still win that fight. So you just got to be a little careful, falling too much in love with that movement. Is what I'm trying to say. You might want to slow. You got to slow it down here and there.
All right, but here we go, right here on Corrupted Keep. Going to be following Thump4 as we get started. Going to be spawning up top armor, getting the grab for the Mega. No real aggression from malvoe, who's actually on Scale Bearer at this point. So we got 2 heavies bashing into each other. But the thing to look for early game here is how each player is routing the weapons. Not only the big items, but making sure that they have very quick access to everything they need to actually have a fight.
Yeah, right now they're just kind of collecting arsenals and reading.
Yeah, not a whole lot of action just yet as they're kind of feeling each other out. Of course, with 2 heavies, there's a lot of opportunity for that here. Now, Sorlag is a favorite of mine. I mean, her spit is just so versatile. But we're going to have to see if Thump4 can get close and personal enough to make it work out. Now, here comes potentially the trap on the Mega and flying over. The rockets are really great, finally making it worthwhile getting into that fight. As malvoe is going to be trying to stab back with as much LG as possible, but the spit, rather, tips the scales as Scale Bearer goes down.
Good ambush by Thump and a mistake by malvoe. He didn't recognize that the armor was already taken. That's why he was down there just kind of sitting around. If anyone was wondering what's he sitting there for, he thought the heavy armor was going to come up, but he lost track of timer on that. It was already grabbed.
Allowing plenty of time for Thump4 to get back into this and get himself up on the Mega. Doing a little bit of damage denial on the rockets is always worthwhile. You don't really get to do so for that long. We only have, what, 5 seconds of respawn timer on the weapons, but a little bit goes a long way here as we also have Visor taken on down. It's all about Nick's play from malvoe. A little bit of spit thrown up there, and it finally makes its connection there. And against Nyx, that spit goes a very long way. It does not take a lot to completely tilt her over.
Yeah, he's in a bad spot right now. And yeah, he's just got to get that rocket launcher. Even though you can't deny it, really, it's 5 seconds, as you mentioned. It's good play there by Thump to finish. But you can't kind of deny the area of the map, and that's what you kind of try to do. You try to keep people away from that side of the map or that area, and anytime they go there, you kind of lay an ambush. But that was a great turnaround for Thump4 after the last map. So it was a really good confidence-building round for him.
All right, so as we come back into it, a little bit of a change-up in how malvoe is starting this up. He's bringing out the Visor instead, but going right in for a +4 fight against Sorlag. Well, he finally proves himself there as he's able to nail Thump4 up against the wall with that rocket. Well done indeed, as we have Thump4 coming back in with an Anarchy, but is very short-lived as the LG from malvoe finds him mid-map as he tries to get a rocket launcher and takes him down. So malvoe coming back into this with a vengeance.
Yeah, great rockets to get that kill. You know, throwing him up in the air and then, you know, hitting him off the wall was awesome. And then the LG stream, he just pegged him coming through. And then again, Anarchy, a little too careless. You know, he's just trying to run right by him like that. I know he tried to use his boost and everything, but.
All right, here comes a bit of a visor play here. I mean, you know where he's at. He's right in front of you. But there's ScaleBear getting out of the fight. Well, not getting into safety, though. That's a nasty place to be. You only have a jump pad. Fortunately, you have 50 health to recover on, but not a whole lot else to work with. So malvoe just getting some free damage there, forcing Thump4 to go lick his wounds. But you still have an opportunity to catch them, either as they move through rocket launcher or try to make a play onto the armor. It's going to be malvoe dropping right into it, getting the grab, getting the frag, and getting the round, tying it back up here 1-1.
Yeah, went all in on the armor, but he added time down to the second, dropped right in on it, and you know, just went in for the kill. LG stream right in his face. As ScaleBear, you're not going to miss much. The guy's a pretty big hitbox, so very good recovery by malvoe.
All right, so we're going to be following malvoe as we get into round 3 here. Getting the grab for rocket launcher, making sure that sword lag won't be too much of a problem here. Got the grab, but also walked into a pile of spit. Going to have to recover here as Visor's incredibly weak enough for Thump4 to nail him down with the rocket.
A nice follow-up by Thump4, recognizing he had him in a kill position and came in with some good rockets from above.
All right, so Thump4 wanted to get a little bit of a breathing room here. Cannot blame him. I mean, things have been so intense here, and the fights have been coming so quickly that even controlling the map hasn't really been the factor. There's been a couple ambushes on the items, but every fight seems to be so lethal for both of these guys.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about this Quake compared to Quake Live and Quake 3 is the time to kill is really seems a little bit shorter. You can really make somebody pay in these ambushes and get a frag quickly. So it's kind of I think it's good because it takes, you don't want just people running back and forth between items. You want to be able to force engagements and lay traps. So
tricks and traps, that's the name of the game. And so far Thump4 is getting a little bit of love out of his sword lag, making sure that he knows where that ScaleBear is going to be hiding out. We actually have item pickups both coming from Thump4 at this point. I mean, ScaleBear still has a ton to work with. But Thump4 going to be up on LG, which is a bit of an awkward place to stage a fight. You don't really have a lot to run to. In fact, you have nowhere to run to except over the statue or out either side. So you hope to do just enough spam damage from the cover to make them regret staging that fight. But he's down to 64 health, looking for the play on the Mega. He might need to back out of here before he can commit. In fact, it might be, well, quote-unquote safer to go up for the armor, but he's still incredibly low on health. That's a lot of 25s for a sword lag to pick up.
yeah, as you mentioned, that was the position isn't the greatest up there because you don't really have anywhere to go. And he paid for it, trying to jump over the statue.
And that means that the next Mega, of course, will be going over to malvoe. But again, the spit finds its mark here. But
yeah, he's been effective with that spit a few times already.
But the fights on the Mega have not been going Thump4's way here so far. I mean, malvoe's just got his number dialed in when it comes to the placement of those rockets. He can come back over the top map after taking away armor, but you can see how much time he has to take getting out of his own way to go recover. And by that time comes around, he's got a ScaleBear right in front of his face. There's a 225s up here, but he's not going to have an opportunity to go grab it here. If he can get out of this fight with 16 health left over, that would be highly unusual here on Corrupted Keep.
Oh, he was fortunate. malvoe ran out of LG ammo there in that fight. That's when he had 16 health. So.
Yeah. Oh, a double spit hit. Not bad, not bad. It's going to make malvoe get out of the fight there at the very least and give Thump4 a little bit of room. But
yeah, another good Sorlag spit. Another good Sorlag spit. And some nice super nail gun for the portal. Nice prediction there.
Yeah, that weapon got a huge buff in the last patch, and it's been a real joy seeing players actually whip it out from time to time.
Yeah, it's devastating. 20 damage per hit now. If you line somebody up with that and predict them right, it can definitely take somebody's stack down.
This is a fight where both players are desperately hoping that there was a rail on the map, but no such luck. And this time, actually, we're seeing Thump4 spam down onto the Mega instead, not really committing to the fight, and therefore not really giving anything up. But that does invite malvoe to show up at the armor this time, and show up he does. We have the spit laid down, but it's going to be very short work made of Thump4 with the LG.
Great play by malvoe. I was looking at the clock and I was looking at his stack, and I was like, you know, this is kind of a good time for him to push if he wanted. And yeah, he came in with that charge and hit him with it. And that once he hit him with the charge, that's it. He was ready to get that frag.
Nicely done there.
Great.
As the machine gun will make short work of that Sword. Like, it's now Scale Bearer on Scale Bearer, but malvoe still has a Nyx in the pocket here. Only 1 minute left to go, and if malvoe decides he wants to turtle up here, he certainly has an opportunity. No, trains are colliding, though, as Thump4's shotgun finishes the job and brings us back into a one-on-one fight. But against a Nyx, ooh, Thump4 has an opportunity here. A very narrow one to find her, and the Ghost Walk is already used. It's already gone. There's no way out of this fight, and that will be Thump4 taking a round, making it 2-on-1.
Little miscalculation by malvoe there, and good rockets by Thump4 to seal around.
He must have thought that Thump4 was much lower than he actually was, and making that bet when your opponent just picked up 225s, I'm not so sure about that.
Even charging into the heavy armor with the lead, because he had the lead at that point, it was a little risky. He really didn't. He could have just shot rockets in there. He didn't have to do that.
Oh no, the self-rockets, those are never fun, and it's an open invitation for your opponent to just plus forward and finish you off, just like malvoe did.
Yeah, malvoe, his lightning gun has been on point this match.
All right, so already being down a Sorlag here. Again, we're going to have to see how much use Anarchy can be on Corrupted Keep here. We're looking at malvoe just taking a very measured approach to Mega before moving in towards armor. It's already been taken, however. He's got to know that at this point. He's still expecting Thump4 to come through the teleporter, though. If he's not careful, it would be deeply ironic for Advisor not to see this fight coming. There it is. Good response there, and he's pushing him right back up onto the LG, just spamming off a ton of rockets. And there's the open invitation for damage, but Anarchy gets out of the fight very quickly. But no, nailed against the wall. Cannot get through the doorway, and he's shoved on down.
Good placement of that rocket, right on. I mean, he placed it. It's an ankle shot, as I like to call him. He basically hit him in his pinky toe, but it does 100 damage because you hit him direct. It's great placement, recognizing he was going to go for that green armor, but great aggressive. Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of got away with one there.
Bit of a mutual one there, but we once again have Scale Bearer on Scale Bearer. But look at Thump4's stack. He just has nothing to work with. He can get back up here a little bit, but showing up at Mega is incredibly risky at this point, especially as he doesn't have a keen idea of where malvoe's at. Yep, he found out and decided he didn't want any part of that party. There's an opportunity for spam damage here. Good, good. He might not be able to prevent the armor, but he can get a lot of free damage off on the bridge here. And he got the barreled into him, doing a ton of damage, but look at malvoe's leftover stack. That is going to tie things back up here. 2-on-2.
Yeah, evenly matched so far, but the feeling I get from that is from what I see so far is malvoe's a little better in terms of decision making when he's out of control and in control. I just see the way he's laying the traps, and I feel like he's going to pull this out. Just what I see.
All right, so each and every one of these rounds you see taking a little bit longer than the last, as neither of them are starting to trust each other that much. Oh man, but that Spit's doing a ton of damage, and the rockets are certainly helping along the way here as malvoe, with the visor, staying down at the bottom of the map. It's still going to be a long time before his piercing sight comes back up, but you don't need to see as much on this map as you need to hear. So there's an armor pickup with Mega taken up at nearly the same time, which is going to at least allow for some of these item trades, but that might not happen as Thump4 gets a very nice chain of rockets to nail him down.
Great play by Thump4. Good aggression, good rockets, throwing him in the air. It's just good placement and then good follow.
Oh, Jesus, LG. Thump4 trying to stab back against malvoe's godly LG so far here today. Yeah,
malvoe off to a very poor start in this round. A little surprised he's been playing so well, and then he got caught early on like that.
All right, so malvoe down 2 champions here. I mean, this is still match point for him for the entire series if he can do everything with the Nyx. But does he even have a Ghost Walk available? Maybe not, as, oh no, the Venomous took him down. If you use that Ghost Walk, you can escape that damage, but no escape for malvoe here, as we are going to be going into a third map, actually. Good game there.
Yep, good turnaround. Like I said, I thought malvoe kind of had some momentum there. His LG was really on point, just kind of looking at stats at 35%. He was getting some good pins there. But yeah, the third round, the last fifth round, he just couldn't get anything going. And Thump4, you got to give him credit with some of those rockets, the way he was throwing him in the air, which is good initial placement, right?
That's one thing you won't see on the stat screen, but you're right, 35% LG is pretty devastating. But the damage difference was less than 200. I mean, this was an incredibly close map here. We're going to be going into the next one, and it looked like from the chat that it is going to be Ruins of Sarnath, which has surprised me in a great way for being pretty capable in just about every game mode available in Quake Champions. It's been more than playable in Sacrifice, TDM, FFA, and of course Duel. So Ruins of Sarnath has been a stellar map for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those very versatile maps. Played FFA on it. I've played every single mode on it, which is so. It just goes to show you it's a very well put together map. It's interesting dual map because of the portal. Again, any map where you have a portal that can really cut off the map, and in the portal where it pops you out in that super nail gun area.
Yeah,
there's an area there above the the mega health and all that. It's a very critical area as you can get to every point of the map. And just
I thought you were talking about the ranger roost up there. I was like, you don't see people going up there very much in Duel. It just doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, not anymore because it's gone.
Right, right, yeah. It was a cool idea. We still have a few areas in each map where only a handful of players can get to, but I think the driving force right now is making sure that players can get everywhere, but they just have different ways to get there and different opportunities to do so. So I think that's what we're seeing with Sarnath, and we're going to be going into it here very shortly. I'm very happy to see that the first match of today is indeed a tiebreaker here. A bit of an awkward start there on the first map, but I'm sure both of these guys have their heads completely in the game at this point.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good win for Thump4 there because he was kind of on the ropes, especially after his performance on Blood Run. I'm sure he really wanted to regroup and get and he had to get a win there to stay in the tourney. So it was a good win for him. Now it's a fresh map and he can focus on pulling it out. And from Malvoe's perspective, he needs to think that he had an opportunity to close out the game there, and he had some missed opportunities. He needs to think about what he can do to make sure that doesn't happen in this match, and
there's not a whole lot more nerve-wracking than being forced into a tiebreaker situation. You come off that first map win and you're riding high, you have a ton of confidence, and when you get shut down on that second map, it's difficult to come back from, intelligently. But we're gonna have to see what that is here as we get Thump4 back into the game. And Ruins of Sarnath going to be a much bigger map. I think we have an opportunity to see Thump4's Anarchy really shine here. I don't think we've seen the full potential of Anarchy in either of the first two maps, but now Thump4 has a little bit more room to breathe and spread his wings, and we might indeed see that. Now, of course, there's a lot of opportunities to kind of stab in, get some damage on both the Mega and the Armor, and then run away, which is what Anarchy's great at. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of, again, awkward fights here down at the Armor maybe, as both of them are really committed to each of these fights. I think that's been one thing that's been consistent for both of these maps, is that once they get into it, there's a lot of plus forward going on. Lots.
yeah. They've been, some of it's they got great aim, so you can tell they're used to muscling players around a little bit, which is pretty typical of top players. They're confident that when they get in a certain scenario that they're going to pin you, they're going to hit you with that rocket, they're going to hit you with that rail.
Yeah.
So you'll see a little more aggression in that regard. And it's interesting what you pointed out in Sarnath, that the placement of the heavy armor, it really forces you, because if you're going to go down there and get it, there's
only like the 2.5 ways down there, and they're all crappy ways to get down there. None of them are fun.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you got to be ready. That engagement's always a little interesting. Are they just going to peek and rail? Are you going to give it to them? Or are you going to go down there and get in a fight? Because usually it gets nasty down there. The rockets start flying everywhere, peak rails. Who knows what's going to happen? So if you don't have a stack, or even just, this game's interesting. You could think you got good position and you push, but one bad rocket, one rocket, hit you at your ankles, hit you for 100 damage, throw you in the wrong direction, and next thing you know, it's like, oh no, what's going to happen now? I think I'm dead. So.
And if you've, like you said, if you've committed on the stairs too much, there's not really a great way out of there. I mean, the jump pad especially ends up being a great opportunity for traps and frag movie air rockets and LG. Or if you're a little bit more pedestrian, you just throw down a totem on the top of that jump pad and call it a day. But we might see if we see anybody move over to Galena. I think this is a great map for Galena. Lots of opportunities for plays out of the teleporters and jump pads. But these guys might just stick with their old faithfuls here. We do have a Ranger coming out of malvoe here.
They didn't go with Sarnath.
Oh, they didn't? Oh, it's Blood Covenant. Okay, cool.
They went with Blood Covenant.
All right. Cool. Which has also gotten a bit of a facelift here. I want to say that the original name for this was Champ Grounds, but maybe they decided to avoid the pun. Blood Covenant sounds much more professional and mature.
I like the blood pool in the middle area.
Oh yeah, it's great.
The traditional quad spot of the of the old version of the game, and it's kind of funny because I think about all the people that died jumping down into that pit for the quad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of physically designed to be the mosh pit, but now it's just a little bit more of a somewhat safe way to cross the map without getting caught in a weird fight on either of the outer rings. And now you're seeing a lot of love between the new upper teleporter moving over to the bridge overlooking the armor. But this is also the map that, at the moment, procures the most sort of standoffish play. If you're a plus back player like Dewey, we've seen over the past couple of weeks, there's a lot of time you can burn here. So those first frags might be the most important.
2, 1.
Yeah, getting off to a good start. Getting secure of the railgun secured is critical because there's a lot of good rail spots here.
All right, so checking out Thump4 here, taking an immediate adrenaline. I can't really fault him for that. I mean, those little health points go a long way. He's going to be able to get the pickup here for Mega, but he's been a little bit slow on the pickup for any weapons here so far. Coming into the upper rocket launcher, he's going to be really noisy, and we do indeed have that that Ranger from malvoe facing him down and railing him down. I was really hoping to see more anarchy here, but so far, malvoe is making sure to shut him down as quickly as possible. Here comes Sorlag.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate coming around to get that rocket launcher. You didn't have one yet, and then the Ranger is coming right up on the pad on him. Oh,
nice.
Just beautifully pinned. And again, you got to kind of have to question Thump4 a little bit going in like that.
Yeah, having awareness on a lot of these spawns is of the utmost importance. But there at the pillars, it's going to be a very quick first round for malvoe. So maybe I have to take back a little bit of my trash talk about being able to turtle on this map, because so far, neither of these guys wants to waste any time.
3, 2,
Well, yeah, Thump4 just made that early mistake, and then, you know, malvoe capitalized on it with some good rocket play, followed up with the spawn kill, and because, like I said, Thump4 kind of did him a favor with Sorlag. He could have reset and maybe gone a different direction, you know, but he didn't, so here we are.
All right, but yeah, he's actually pocketing Anarchy at the moment here. Getting caught in a bit of a weird fight with rockets, though, doing enough damage to get malvoe off his back, or at least make him think that going back over towards the mega side of the map is a better idea. But with the timing being what it is, moving from A to B is not going to be a simple matter. It looks like malvoe might still be sticking in just to do a little bit of damage before he allows an item trade. Just more than likely here. Just a little bit more damage with the MG. All right, cool. And now he can leave at will and go get this Mega, and also have a better idea of when the armor's going to be back up. And actually, with both items now having the same exact timing, creating a little bit of distance between them on the timer can help you actually get full map control.
Yep, that's exactly what he was doing there, and it was good. It was a good, smart play. He just kind of did that damage. Now he can go make a hard attempt at heavy armor here. They should be pretty evenly stacked. It's going to be about who sets the better trap.
Yeah, 12
he
seconds
has a better position.
Is more than enough time to get from one side of the map to the other, and now Thump4's in a bit of a weird state. He has to either go for an item he doesn't have the exact timing on, or try to force malvoe off of the armor that up until now was his. But really good rocket there so far, throwing down a little bit of spit on the jump pad as well. That could open things up for, well, at least a bit of a pushback here. This is the best defense we've seen from Thump4 here so far, and he's not wanting to let it go. He wants to make sure that this damage sticks against malvoe, but he needs to find it. He finds him at the teleporter. The HMG might just be enough to take him down. There it is.
Great. Thump4 just had malvoe like clueless about where he was, so came through the portal and got that machine gun in the back. Malvoe looked really confused there. He lost track of Thump4 for sure.
All right, but Thump4 didn't really have an opportunity for doing much damage off of the spawn either, which when you're trying to kind of tilt somebody over, this is really what you want. And on DM6, it's not, I'm sorry, Blood Covenant, it's not the easiest thing. You know how many names I've had to call this map over the years? All right. Oh, geez, he's looking for the spit, but he has a rail. He's not pulling it out just yet here. He's taken enough damage to make sure he's somewhat safe, and actually, the damage he's done against the Nyx, that might be worth pushing the fight forward, but taking a rail is immediately going to force him to change his mind. Oh, nice caught on the jump pad. But he has to be really careful here. He's done a great amount of damage. He's got malvoe on the ropes. It's up to him to finish him off, though.
Yeah, great shots there by
juked.
Thump. Oh, that was a nice prediction rocket.
You really
Kinda
want that
even the
25
score
before
there.
leaving, though. Yeah. All that work
was
that
a
Thump4
big
just did.
prediction rocket.
Absolutely. I mean, Sorlag's not quiet as she moves around the map. Nice. A little bit of area denial on the Mega, but is it actually going to turn into a grab of the Mega for Thump4, or is he just hoping to get some damage? There's still a lot of time before the big armor comes back up, and so Thump4, by doing that, hasn't really allowed himself a free grab. I mean, we're still going to see malvoe railing from across the map, and he's not going to be going away anytime soon. Oh, geez, nice play with the nail gun, but is it going to be consistent enough at damage? Not so much. There's the rail from malvoe to tie things back up.
Great, great read by malvoe. You know, he took a tactical, you know, a little bit of a risk there, as I say, a strategic risk. He just played the odds. He was a good. He beat him up the stairs, right? So he got that better position with the lightning gun. Plus, not to mention he was on soar lag. So, wow. And then the finishing rail was very pretty. That's just highlight shot.
Well, we do have Anarchy coming back into it here. And again, I want to see more Anarchy play out of Thump4. I want to see him use what Anarchy is great at. He's pulling out a gauntlet. Cool. Now, just a little bit of, all right, do you really want to commit to this fight, or do you just want to, you know, go get safe items and then come back into it? Because they're both fairly weak characters. They can't afford to take more than 2 rails, really. And so making sure that they've got everything they can get coming into this fight is the way to kind of set it up.
One of the things I don't like in regard to Anarchy picking him late in a duel, like he did here, is you don't get really the max benefit of trying to boost his HP at all. So, you know, so late in the game, he's really not going to get that much of an HP boost.
And a little bit of rocket damage goes a long way there. That should open up the armor for Thump4. He's actually expecting a fight, but malvoe's not there at the moment.
Yeah, that rocket slowed him down big time. This is sudden death right now. I mean, so whoever gets this next frag, I expect to see some conservative play.
Yeah. So no skill bearer on this round at the very least.
Sudden death.
But these are both incredibly fragile creatures. So we're going to see a lot of kind of conservative play at the moment, making sure that they're stacked up. And the timers have gotten back to being pretty close to even. So at this point, if malvoe wants to do damage against the Mega, he's putting that armor potentially at risk. He knows he can get back to it, but he might be expecting Thump4 to push him forward the whole way.
Good positioning by malvoe right there to deny, you know, the RL path and keep high ground on a heavy armor to take that. Now he's going to make the play for that Mega health.
That's a nasty trade, and Anarchy's ability will get him some extra health there, but it still doesn't protect him from a rail. And they both get back into it, but there's the fadeaway rail from malvoe to give him the round. This is going to put him on not only match point, but series point.
That great read by malvoe there to drop down. And, you know, he had him on the ropes. He knew he had to go and collect some armor and stuff, so he went down for that light armor down there and did the damage, and they got that finishing rail. It's like impressive play here by malvoe. Like I said, in spots he's really intelligent. You can say it the way he's reading Thump4.
How do you feel about that spawn there by the heavy armor? I mean, you get the armor for free, sure, but then getting weapons is a little bit of a chore.
Yeah, you know, you start with SNG and you get the heavy armor. You kind of, again, it's about really reading your opponent and taking, you know, what you can get, right? Because at that point you don't have anything. You don't have the rocket launcher, you don't have the rail, you don't have the lightning gun.
Right.
So it's just about reading what direction your opponent is heading and just kind of slowly collect those weapons. You know, first start with a LG or a rocket launcher, and then, you know, move your way to rail and just kind of do things in a careful manner. And just make, you know, 'cause I think a lot of newer players have a tendency to beamline it for items.
Yeah.
Just
oh, jeez, that rocket con as he was trying to fall down the lip. Jeez. That's rough. That was not a rocket that you would expect to connect directly like that, but well placed by malvoe there. And yeah, everything you were saying about you know, your ability to get around the map. I mean, there's so many ways to kind of take shortcuts now, but still getting from the bottom of the map to the top where you can get yourself a rail, get yourself a rocket launcher is something that you're not going to get for free. You really have to fight for it down there.
Exactly. Yeah, and you got to be careful. The rails, you know, it's a hot ambush pot. You know, people are going to try to deny you that weapon because it is powerful. It can turn around.
Hey, but who needs subtlety when you could just run up to them and vomit all over their face? I mean,
yeah, right.
Most of my high school parties.
He's been really effective. You know, if you look, most of his spit attempts have done damage.
Yeah,
Thump has been really good with soar lag. I think he's been probably one of his most consistent characters and so far all across all the rounds.
Oh, the stack pool certainly does give you a little bit more wiggle room here, but he still doesn't have a rail, so approaching malvoe at the armor is not going to really get him any favors. Unfortunately for him, the timing on the Mega is not really favoring him being over on this side at this point, so as malvoe comes into it, he needs to be ready for this fight. He needs to get some initial damage on malvoe to make him think twice about entering in on it. But malvoe's going to think, all right, this is completely free, and both rockets go wide as we have Ghostbot coming out. But then again, there's a spit, there's Mega up, and he leaves it up just completely plus forwarding with only 28 health, but he wants the frag, and he's going to get it. If he can take down Scale Bear, he's going to be able to stay in the series.
Yeah, Nyx, that's the problem with Nyx right there. malvoe got in that fight, and good charge.
Good charge. Good shotgun as well. Yikes.
Wow. Yeah. Yikes. Yikes is right.
All right, we're going to see if Thump4 can derail malvoe's Scale Bear here. Bit of a whiff there, but it's a whiff that might get him a rocket launcher if he's able to ever land, which he won't be. And that will indeed be malvoe taking the map, taking the series, and moving into the top 8. Thump4, we'll have to see him in another qualifier.
Very impressive play by both guys. Both guys are talented Quake players. Thump4, just, I would just tell him to, watch these. You can't rewatch these games and try to learn a little bit from him. He'll spot things, he'll see things, and he's gonna be like, why did I do that here and why did I do that there? malvoe, I thought, was playing really intelligently. You can just tell, he seemed calm and collected most of the match. There was a few moments there where he kind of lost himself, but that can happen. Like I said, other players at this level are going to force you to kind of do things and put that pressure on you. Overall, it was a great performance, I think, by malvoe to move on to the top 8. So I expect to see him around in future tournaments. Whether or not he gets to the QuakeCon finals and ends up with money there, I expect to see more of him. I was impressed with this play, and same with Thump4 too. He just got a little work to do. Some of those, he was a little too aggressive at times, and I think when players start getting to this level, it's hard to find good competition, I guess, to practice against. So you don't want to run into somebody, I guess, I would recommend that.
I was going to mention that it really didn't seem like malvoe and Thump4 had played each other too often before. They both seemed a little bit unsure about how to predict, who is going to go where, who is going to commit to what. However, our next match is Griffin and ID, and these guys have played a lot together over the years. So I think we're going to be looking for them here pretty soon. Guys, don't go away as I push buttons and we get ready for the next match here. Any last comments on that match there, Victor?
Just like I said, greatly played, and malvoe, good job, man. Good job. Like I said, I like the decision making he was making. It's many points in that match.
Cool, and we will be indeed seeing him in regionals. Thump4, well, we might as well, but it's going to be one more attempt from him. Here we go.